Welcome, everyone, to a deck casual about the Tarot of Mystical Moments. Links to this deck, the creator's website, and all that sort of stuff are below. And today, Brian from BlushingNerdTarot is here.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
Hello.
And Brian also has a website called Tarot Forest, tarotforest.com. Link is below. We'll talk a little bit about that because, you know, it's just cool. And this is actually a Nerd Stash event.
It's been a while.
It has, but hey, it's okay. It's okay. So I'm Tarot Stash, by the way, and we are simulcasting this on both of our channels. So links to both of those are below. And please remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt. I'm going to have it put on my on the Tarot Stash merch store.
Excellent.
So, but so Brian, what's been going on?
Lots of stuff. It's that season where, you know, things get kind of busy, but there's a lot of friend and family activity that's fun. And so, yeah, it's been a very busy couple of weeks. Had some travel and was away from things for a little while. And but happy to be hopping on with you. Yes,
I'm glad to have you here. For those future lurkers, this is being filmed on December 8th, which is of 2024, which is my sister's birthday, actually.
Happy birthday.
I need to send her a happy birthday message. So here in the United States, we just had Thanksgiving. And and it is the start of the holiday season. So, but yeah, so let's say hi to some people. We have the obsessed Linda de Gonzalez, who is in the Pacific time zone. We are in bed with Linda. Hi, Linda. Let me shuffle a deck for you. Sorry. And she's not waking the birdies. And okay, and she did get her deck because this is one of her favorite decks. Linda, do you have the Oracle as well? I don't have the Oracle. So, and look at that. He is like on it. So there you go. Oracle. And they're beautiful. Maureen is here. Beautiful day in Erie. Hi, Gray. Great to see you. Janet Lee G. Starseed Awakening 1111. Karen. And just for those of you who want to know, Karen, JJ, and I are going to do another light language show in a couple of weeks on a Thursday. Stay tuned. Marjorie is here. Pierrette is here. Jenny Berlin. Moira. Jane the Seeker Tarot. By the way, Jane the Seeker Tarot is probably hosting a Tuesdays with Tarot Stash exclusively on Jane the Seeker Tarot on Tuesday. Maureen loves your fedora.
Thank you.
And Maru is here. Hello. And Gray is like going, Jesus. Yes. There you go. And there you go. Linda is able to say Pierrette's name very properly. So, and she does have the Oracle. So, Anna is here. Hello. And so, Brian, how long have you had this deck?
I've had this since basically right after it came out. I think it's probably been.
It was 2021 in January when the standard edition came out.
Yeah, I think I got it because it is the first edition. Second printing, I think it must have been just a couple months after that. I think it did go through quickly on the first printing.
Yeah, and it is available through US Games Incorporated, US Game Systems. Purchase responsibly. Know your limits. We are here to share, not to sell. Links are below. I do encourage people to get it from a reputable place.
Yes, indeed.
Do that. And this is the one I found out that a borderless miniature edition came out. It came out in October of 2024. So I snatched it up. I like the miniature version. Problem is let me tell you, these cards are so delicious. Miniature. I'm using a magnifying glass to see the beauty in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeffrey does have both of those, but Jeffrey and I do not share decks. So Jane says, is it a story deck? Is it a story deck? What do you mean, Jane? Can you tell stories with it? Yes, especially with the artistic images. And Maru says it's Thoth-based, or Toth, or Tooth-based.
Thoofy. It's Thoofy.
It's Toothy. It's Toothy. Garnet is here. So, yes, Linda, there is a miniature version.
Yep.
So this is what I have. You have the standard size, correct?
I do. Yep. I have the standard size, and I can do the comparison for size if now
you have both of them.
No, I have,
okay.
But I have the RWS for comparison.
And I can do this. So there we go.
Oh, that is very miniature.
It is miniature. Yeah, the miniature size itself is it is 1.55 inches by 2.875. So they made it small. I mean, it's like it just peaks up a little bit if you need that.
The dinky deck.
It is a dinky deck, and so with that in mind, it's not a deck to. The miniature version isn't one that I can riffle shuffle.
Yeah.
So, and Janet Lee G. Serious attraction to minis, as does Jane. I actually think it may be smaller than Lenormand, Jane.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So, speaking of decks, would you do me the favor and tell people a little bit about tarotforest.com?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So tarotforest.com started October 1st of this year, and we are primarily focusing on decks that we can work directly with the artists and creators on, so that we can bring those in and get a little bit wider circulation on that. That includes some decks like Oak, Ash, and Thorn. So we're bringing in some decks from England that don't have distribution in the US. And hopefully that will open some doors there. That being said, I do have a connection now with US games. So decks like this I can bring in as well. I don't have this one in the store at this time, but because I've still been working on outreach to creators to try and bring in their stuff. So that inventory tends to be fairly expensive and takes a little while to get in. So trying to focus on that a little bit more. However, if there's interest in being able to buy from a non-Amazon source or something, even if it's a mass market deck, I'm not opposed to bringing the stuff in, and I do have some already from U.S. Games and some other bigger publishers as well. So, but it's tarot decks, oracle decks, and the expanding portion of this store, including the decks, will also be. I'm working, and hopefully you can't hear it buzzing away in the background because it might be distracting. But I have some crystals currently tumbling and going through some processes.
Very nice.
Yeah, going to be doing some pendulums that I'm cutting the stones, sourcing the stones and cutting them, and some related accessories and things like that as well. So,
and yeah, I think that's great. And Jane says she was gifted.
She was
there.
Yep, I was sworn
And
to secrecy when I
yes,
received that order.
yes. And also, Smoke, Ash, and Embers is on my wish list for Tarot Forest.
Yes, I'm actually going to be I'm going to be working with Stephanie to bring in the whole catalog. So that should be. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. And hi, Hershey.
Yes. Hello, Hershey. Good morning. Joanne Miranda is here. And so lots of people are joining us. Thank you very much for being here. Do us the favor and subscribe to both of our channels because, well, verify that you are subscribed. YouTube is doing some things where some people are being unsubscribed. So it's like, oh, well, so you can do that by verifying. I also have in the links Brian's channel, Brian's website, as well as Tarot Forest's YouTube channel, which if you need somebody to run through and do some flip throughs, let me know. We can
Will
do
do.
that.
Yeah.
Kristen Louise is here. Hello, Kristen Louise. So and if I've missed anybody, my apologies. But let's get into this deck. You've had this deck. I just got this deck in October, and so my deck comes in a little tuck box. So so there you go. Is yours in a tuck box as well?
Mine is currently housed in one of my pouches,
Okay.
and I do not have the box near me at the moment.
No worries. No
It's a
worries.
two-part standard box, like similar to the Oracle.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Two-part.
Yes. And mine did come with a small guidebook, which is for the miniature. It's 79 pages, and look at the difference. I mean, and he has got his tag. You know, he is an overachiever when he's got his tag.
Learn from the best.
So, how would you describe the card stock of this?
For my tastes, the card stock is passable.
Okay.
But it's I do tend to prefer, so it's fairly robust, and I don't feel like it's fragile. However,
No.
it is very glossy, and it would be amazing to see this done in like a 350 GSM mat. It would be incredible.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. I like the way you say it's passable. I can shuffle it. It's not hard to shuffle. Again, I have the miniature edition, so that in mind, I'm not riffle shuffling these. So, oh, Vicky is today's favorite. She just subscribed to Brian. Thank you, Vicky. Oh, Hershey says I need a Brian bag.
Yep. Those are coming to the store too. I'll tell you what, that's the thing that is going to take a little bit more time. I would say we're probably looking at within the first 3 months of 2025. And probably not before, because it takes a full day to make one of my like this
yeah,
with the
nice.
two-tone. So I do a little bit darker inside, but
really nice.
These take a while, and that's just because my skills are, they require some extra time. But
of course,
they're coming.
And Maureen is subscribed to you too. So Maureen is one of today's favorites. So this is great. And Linda says, yes, Brian, I agree. I wish the cards were smaller or I had bigger hands.
Yeah, these are Oracle size, basically. It's
yeah.
Kind of how I would describe it.
Yeah. So I do not have the Oracle. Of course, now seeing this, I'm spoiler alert. I sort of wish I had it regular size because the images are so great. So
well, and funny enough, in terms of talking about Oracle size, they chose to do a smaller size for the Oracle, so they flipped it.
That's funny.
It is.
That's funny. And Maru said, I love the structured bag. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay. So here's the back. And it's very bright here, so I'm having a little bit of a struggle with that. So
Yeah, same.
and
The
so
gloss help you. There we go.
yeah, that's better. So Hershey said the Oracle deck is a deck with attitude for her.
I could see that.
So
Are the
mine, okay, yours is gilded.
Yeah.
Mine is not gilded. So the miniature is not gilded. It's just a plain. Will I edge it? I don't know. Excuse me. I'm going to. I just proved to people that I have legs. So I know it's shocking. Yeah, so glossy it makes me nuts on camera. Yeah. Linda, excuse me, Tortoiseshell Moon Kathy said, I found the cardstock to be the kind that clumps together a little, and gilding is a bit on the sharp side, but I can work with it.
Yeah, you know what I did when I found that same thing to be true, cards even sticking together when I got it. I spent some time with this deck kind of getting it into shape by kind of working the deck aggressively side to side, and it knocked off those edges that sometimes carry over and give a little bit of a lip, and it did get to a point now where they are completely smooth and it didn't seem to chip. So I think the gilding is high quality, but it just needs a little bit of help initially.
Yeah. Sunique is here, and Moira said, first thing I did was chop off the gilding sharp and made it hard to shuffle.
Yeah.
I am a person who, it's your deck, so go for it.
That's right.
So go for it. And okay. So it's as I said, you can shuffle it. It's fine. Brian was smart enough and worked with the deck and shuffled it. I think with many decks, when they're new, they just need to be shuffled and get used to your energy. So with that in mind, okay, so I have, is it borderless or bordered? It is borderless in the sense that we have a title at the bottom, but the rest of it is borderless. So
same for the
Brian has shown you there. Yeah, that's perfect. So, and so there you go. How do you shuffle the minis? Doing dishes, make the coffee. I shuffle the minis. I shuffle this one in particular because it's so small. I'm shuffling it overhand. I'm shuffling it overhand. The naming of the majors are the same as the traditional Rider-Waite Smith. Strength is 8 and justice is 11. Court card naming, we have Page, Knight, Queen, and King. One of the bonuses about this deck, it's 83 cards because there are 5 extra cards. There is a feminine version for the Emperor and a feminine version for all of the kings.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of that? Let's can we talk about that for a second?
I forgot it was that way because I selected the kings when I initially got the deck, and then put the other side in the box, and just that's it. So I have all of the feminine kings in the deck.
And so I can show those. I to be honest with you, I kept both versions in.
I thought about
each
doing
of
that.
them, and the reason I did that is sometimes the maturity of the king needs to have a bit more of a nurturing side to it, and that's different than the queen. So let's see if I can show. Here's the King of Wands. We have the masculine and the feminine. We have the King of Swords. So there's different feels. We have the King of Cups. And we have the King of Pentacles. And I think they're both beautiful. I think they both work quite well. Quite well. Let me find the Emperor so that you can see the version of the Emperors. Okay, and here's the version of the Emperors. So there's that. So you can see that. Hershey said I also have all of mine back in it. And Karen is here. And okay. So okay. Now we are going to show you some of the cards that we really like. Well, overall, we'll just say this is a fantasy surrealist view and combination. The link to the artist website, Catrin Welz-Stein, is in the description. And I did link the exactly where they're talking about this deck and the creation of that. And one of the things that she blurs, and in the back it says, in my art, I blur the lines between imagination and reality while exploring womanhood in many different ways. And I think it's just great. So Maru said, I find the picture so fanciful that it's hard to interpret. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Brian,
Yes.
Got a card that you would like to share?
I do. So one of my favorites is the Seven of Pentacles. And I'm going to read this. Is it okay if I read the description from the...
Yeah, of course.
So let me read that, and then I'll talk a little bit about it as well. On this card, we see a woman sitting on top of a tree. She's been busy harvesting fruits from the tree and is now resting from the hard work. On her lap, she holds a sliced apple with 7 apple seeds. They symbolize the investment she has made over the years and the potential profit that could come out of it. It was hard work, and she looks forward to enjoying the results, but first she must take the time to assess the results and plan the next stage. So one of the other reasons that I really like this is because, and I think I've talked about it before in a video I did about this deck, that if you slice that apple the other way,
yep,
you get the pentacle. Yep. So I think it was a really cool choice. And I just think that's a great image.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image. It's a beautiful image. And okay, see, I'm obsessing about putting the 7 back where it needs to be. So I have one of my cards that I really like is I like the Chariot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I like this Chariot is because oftentimes the Chariot, it is about quick movement. It's about travel. This reminds us that any movement is movement, and it helps to focus intention, and that we're going, and that we're not just sitting still. And if you've looked at snails, they move rather slowly, yet they move. So yeah. So that's
and I like, one of the things I like about that too is a bit of a nod to RWS and to Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork with the Chariot being basically a solid block, so it can't actually move. And yes. I think the snail was a great choice for this. It adds some fun depth to it.
Yep. Oh yeah. All right. What do you have?
Next, I have the Two of Wands, and they're. I love the idea of holding the world in your hands, and then staring off at the moon. And there's that comfort of sitting on the house, and being in your safe place, and feeling like you have the world just comfortably at hand, but then also that gives you the freedom to kind of dream. In a lot of ways, you have to be in that kind of place before you can envision yourself voyaging out, taking that next adventure.
Yes.
And I think that, with all the twos and throughout the tarot, I always love to see duality. And this
Mm-hmm.
to me captures that quite well.
Yeah. And Hypnicity said, waiting for my starship.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I did pull the Wheel of Fortune.
Hmm.
I think that is just a beautiful image, and how oftentimes what we don't see is we don't see the gears and the way people are actually moving inside themselves. So this wheel reminds me there are lots of cogs and lots of things that are moving. So, so there's that. So I think that's a great little card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I struggled with that one initially because it wasn't obvious to me, the connection with the wheel,
Uh-huh.
and that image, because sometimes the wheel, um I guess, seeing those gears all locked together, and maybe this has something to do with uh being a clockmaker in a previous life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this life, but in a previous career. um the the movement of one is intrinsically tied to the movement of the rest.
Yes.
And so that is interesting in and of itself, but I struggle with this one a little bit.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like it, but
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Debbie Aquarius Owl is popping in. Can't stay. Tarot of Mystical Moments is my favorite deck. Put the mini on my Christmas list so I
Nice.
can carry it with me everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, all the cogs need to be in alignment, and it's all connected. So, yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten that you were at once working on clocks.
Yep.
So, all right. What do you have?
Next is the Strength card for me. And boy, the glossiness. My camera wants so desperately to find the right focus point. So the
Which is,
Strength card, I think one of the things that I love best about this is that um the bit of costuming going on,
mhm,
because to me that brings in the concept of, it's one thing to have the strength, but part of that involves being able to truly identify with
yes.
what you have power over. And because
Mhm,
power can be a tricky thing, it's just and if you this shows empathy in that, and I think it's really cool.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I have the Three of Swords picked out.
Mm-hmm.
The Three of Swords is is a card that I do look at it. I want artists to have a different interpretation than just swords sticking in a heart. And so we have the Three of Swords, where I like this, where these are feathers, and they are in the center of a rose, and that rose is the person's um, outfit. And it's like, yeah, that's an I appreciate this interpretation of that. So yeah. So all right.
Shall we sip?
Yes. Sip sip, everybody.
That's a very nice mug you have there, Gerald.
Thank you. Available on the Tarot Stash merch store. Links below.
Excellent. I need to visit that. I'm overdue for a visit to that.
There you go.
Four of Wands. That's my next one. And this one is strictly on my favorite list because I love this art.
Yes.
I want to be there so bad.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love it. And I mean, yeah, it's the celebration and everything, and people dancing on their roof there, but it's really just such a beautiful place that I want to put myself in. So, that it's a
Yeah.
very bare bones reaction kind of add to the favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have okay, so this is a bit of an odd one. I have the 5 of Swords. And the reason I have the 5 of Swords is as I like the figure in the background. How is it a heart that, or are they falling apart and there's a red thread that is trying to hold this person together? I find that very, very interesting.
Agreed.
So, yes. So there's that. So
Tower is next for me. And I love the way that the character is sort of just embracing
yeah,
the tower um and looks very serene despite the scene.
yeah.
And I think it helps to balance out that message. So if this is pulled for someone, it's not people falling out of a tower. It's not
Yep.
quite the same doomsday. It very obviously has disruptive destruction going on, um,
hmm
but it can be balanced out by the full image.
Yes, this was in my honorable mention
Mm,
because it's such a nice retelling and a reframing of it. And Hershey said, yeah, embrace the explosion and experience.
mhm.
Debbie loves the tower card. Yeah, embracing the tower. Yep. And it feels like we're falling apart. Been there. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So,
And her hair is part of the smoke. It's sort of just
yep.
it trails up in, and so there is really no separation between the person and what's happening there. And
Exactly.
sometimes we just need to embrace it.
Yeah. And Hypnicity said, this depicts the Dark Knight for me.
Mm,
I would agree with you on that. I picked the 10 of Swords as well. It's a nice image visually. It's great, and it's not a person with all of the swords in the back. This is swords for me are thought, word, and deed. So this is really getting into your head.
yeah.
Really. So
And I always think about, imagine the amount of work it would take to get a hairstyle like that. And how much does that
oh
play
yeah.
into this? That there's you can see the burden on her face. But just, I don't know. It's, yeah, like many of these cards, there's a lot going on. And the more you sit with them, the more it comes out.
Yeah. And by the way, this does have Sunique Tarot's favorite ever tower. Desperately trying to hold on to what we know is no longer possible.
It's a good way to put it.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah. So that 10 of Swords, it's one of those. It's like, ooh, wow. Okay, nice. So,
5 of Pentacles is next for me. And this does have a similar RWS kind of feel and theme.
uh-huh.
But the way this one is depicted, I kind of like the roses within the dress
hmm
and falling through the hole beneath.
Yes.
There's just that downcast of the hair that is roots that don't have a place to be. Those roots are just floating there.
That's a
So
good
that,
point.
yeah, that really is interesting. And of course, the downcast face despite the glowing windows behind that show some promise and somebody's out there
hmm
for you. Um, and even just the dress form being a cage,
Yes.
that again, so many layers here. So
Mhm.
I think this one is one of the better 5 of Pentacles out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and Tortoise Moon Kathy said, I love that 10 of Swords too. Are they being pushed in or pulled out, creating relief? It's a good point.
Mhm.
And okay, when looking for your light, look at your roots. Good point. And Jamie did see the tower and she did like it. So there you go. Five of Pence, no substance left inside, feeling empty.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And MLR, hello, said strength card, lion, aka cat. My system keeps freaking up. You're good. You're here. So, for those of you who know me, I do look at the Eight of Wands, and I find this Eight of Wands very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like going, oh wow, look at that, and all of those umbrellas are lifting up, and the skirt is even an umbrella. So it's like part of it is that's a great reminder that you sometimes have to be the one to start the energy and to push it. So
yeah, that was an honorable mention for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of honorable mentions. I'm like, well, I told him just to stick with 10.
Right.
So it's hard.
Yeah. The Hermit is one that I always look at.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also one that initially didn't grab me as a Hermit. I initially wasn't totally sold on it. But I got there, and there are a lot of things that immediately you think, okay, it's lighthouse. There's a lantern on the end of that fishing pole, but I think the idea of steering the ships and the three birds and the stars up there and sitting so high up above, but then so there's an isolation element, but it's almost like a benevolent isolation, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a a character that chose that position for a reason and is a guiding light.
Yeah. And yes, there is a tower again on the Hermit. And what's also interesting is this placement on that tower, the lighthouse, reminds me of the tower meaning in Lenormand, which is get a higher perspective, see things from the broader standpoint. So, in that perspective. So I like that crossover.
Yeah.
So, all right. Look at me. Okay, so I also have the Four of Cups is a great card. It's pretty. It's nice. It's like, oh, we need to remember what's going on. Are there cups on there? No. But the feeling is there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's very pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I am in just basically all honorable mention territory from here. So if you have others that were
well, okay, so one I have two more.
Okay.
I like the 10 of Pentacles.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 10 of Pentacles, I like this. We see the mature person on top. We see the family down below. One of the things that I really like about this is we see the rings of the tree, which reminds us that each year we go on, we leave a mark, and it feels like an echo. I think that's really quite pretty. Yeah. So there's that 10 of Pentacles, and I think the Knight of Pentacles is just pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's like, okay. Yeah. So there's that.
I often wish I was a botanist when I look at this deck, because I wonder about, how many of these connections would be even richer if I understood the choice of the different flowers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, all right. So you've got honorable mentions.
Yeah. I mean, I could basically just show almost the rest of the deck if I was going to just.
I know.
Yeah, I do like the Knight of Wands. I think is pretty fantastic image. There's a decent amount to pick apart there, but I think I just like the aesthetic of it as well.
I do too. I think that's a really nice image.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's great. And oftentimes when we are in Knight of Wand energy, that being inspired and needing to take action, this is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
And Hershey asked Brian, do you like the matching oracle?
Oh, I do. I love it. Yeah. And the two read together so well. I have an old video about that from pretty early on my channel. Um, and I did a sample reading. And just, man, it still gives me chills. Every once in a while, that's one of the only videos I'll ever go back and watch. Just sometimes I like
Oh,
to go check
neat.
that one out because I just thought it was so fun how everything played out, but I do like the Oracle a lot.
Yeah. Linda said, look at the Seven of Cups. Very.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here's the Seven of Cups. So Jane, the Secret Tarot, asked, is this a story deck? I think the stories, you could definitely tell stories with this. They're going to be fanciful. You've got to let go of what you understand as reality and really look for those connecting pieces and parts. So
Yeah. And sometimes I think of story decks in this. I mean, it's up to interpretation for everybody, but when I think of story decks, I think of decks that have characters that are like continuous throughout the imagery. Sorry, just relighting my incense. But didn't I don't think there's a lot of that here. There are some characters that are drawn in the same style. Yeah, but I don't think there's a single connecting thread necessarily.
Hershey said, I would call this a layered curiosity deck.
Oh, I like it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like that. And Kristen Louise Tarot said, love that Seven of Cups. Yeah. All those stars to wish on. Yeah. Yep. Carries me away to a funner place. Is this a deck that if one were to do the tarot scavenger hunt, that one must have that, Hershey? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Spoiler alert.
Are there bluebirds in here somewhere? Sorry. No, you know, it had to be said.
God's green couch maybe is in there somewhere.
God's green couch. Oh my goodness. Okay.
If you haven't watched any of this tarot scavenger hunts, get over to Hershey's channel because it is my favorite thing on YouTube.
They're hilarious.
Yep.
So,
and Gerald and I may have been on there a couple times. So
we might have been in chat too.
That's right.
So there you go.
Looking forward to the next season.
So yes. So I have the world, and I like this image. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just a very pleasing image. So
yeah.
And so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, the death card is interesting, but again, I could probably just honorable mention almost everything else. But I think this is very much a person that is alive, but and almost playing the ribs like an instrument.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you got that butterfly and things growing from within. So this goes back to duality. I feel like people are just gonna stop watching me because I can't stop saying duality. I feel like I bring it up constantly, but I just feel like that's a thread that just comes through here in so many ways in tarot and oracle even.
It does. Well, it does because I find, and this is, Gerald, this is Tarot Stash saying this. I think that duality is sometimes we want a reading to help find the duality in what we're experiencing so we can find the balance that we want.
Yeah.
I have the Nine of Swords picked out because this is it's a provocative image. So,
yeah.
And so yeah, the chat is Linda said it's a good image of transformation for the death card and tearing your own skin to reveal the new you inside. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I thought the Nine of Cups was a great image. I love that fan. And it's not because of the fan, everybody. I mean, maybe, but it's great. Oh my God. There it is. There it is, everybody. The fan that broke Gerald. The fan that broke Gerald.
Tiny hand fan.
The tiny hand fan. Yes. So, I mean, and this is again a very provocative image, I think. So, um,
Yeah.
okay, and one that I always look at. I always look at the Two of Pentacles. Everyone knows that it is my favorite card in the tarot deck. This one took me a minute to go,
Yeah.
okay, I'm okay with that. I
Yep.
get it. I get it. So, because when you see the limnisket at the top, and you've got that balancing, and it looks like she's the person on the skyscraper is twirling that, so is keeping those balance. So it's like, okay, there you go. So yeah.
How did you feel about the Ace of Pentacles?
Well, it's interesting because I pulled out all of the aces because there's something very telling about these aces.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I really had to look at, Brian, is because we have this, we have this right here, but it is coming up from like a tube underground. What did you
Yeah.
think of it?
Yeah, I like the way it shows sort of a power in that that's a tiny fiddlehead fern, and yet it's split the earth in half,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah. So I want to show the rest of the
Mhm.
aces.
I love that card.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Love it.
Beautiful. And I like the key in their hand. And then we have the Ace of Cups, which is like, wow. Because that's how it feels when you start getting new emotions. They just pour out all over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maru, I understand what you mean. She said the image is a little too heavy on the buildings in
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Yeah.
And then the Ace of Wands. I'm always good about a book.
Yeah.
So I did pull out all of the aces to show those. I thought those were quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have any that you struggled with?
I do have a few.
Yeah. And look, I did not pay Kathy to ask that.
This one, the Devil, is one that I struggle with in this deck.
It is I'm struggling with this pile.
There we go. How about it?
Yep. And I'm still not right with it.
Nope, me neither.
So
I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I find myself with that card having to break out of it, not think about the image that's on it, just think about it being the devil, and then reframe according to my general understanding of the devil.
Maru reminds us of poison,
Mm-hmm.
the versions of the poisons.
Yep.
Caught in the web. Okay, so Linda pulls out, it's the Amanita mushroom. It's poisonous. And I'm okay with the spider, and I'm okay with the web because the web we weave and what we do
Yep.
and all of that stuff, really it is impactful. She's stuck in the spider web she saw and walked in anyway. Self-sabotaging part of materialism that one sees within their self once they see it and they actually are seen by the world, maybe.
Yeah.
And Teacher Barbara, hello, Teacher Barbara. Mushrooms kept in dark and fed shit to grow. Yes.
Yep.
That's true. So that's one also, Brian, that I had. I mean, it's a nice image.
Sure. Yeah.
And yes, there, mushrooms do grow in very fertile stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I had the sun.
Yep.
I'm like going,
Mm-hmm.
yes, she's very sunny. She's shiny. And then you have this black bird in front of her eye, and I'm like going, yes, you need darkness to have light, and you need light to have darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Those two need to be in balance. And here, let me take a sip before I say this, because people are going to come for me.
Sip, sip.
This is what you're going to see on Drag Race when somebody has to wear a fascinator and they're way over the top. So,
yeah.
and Kathy said it's the son's least favorite card. I mean, I get it. It's fine. And it would be interesting to see it in a reading and how it relates. Oh, well, here you go. Removing the mask in the sun to become clear. Okay, maybe.
Here are a couple sentences from the book. So the woman is filled with complete happiness and she is spreading her warmth to other people's lives. But a dark bird covering her eye, a dark bird is covering her eye and blocks the warmth of the sun, preventing the sunshine from reaching every corner. Even with the sunshine, you can sometimes feel sad or depressed. True, but is that what the sun card is all about? Recognizing that you can feel sad and depressed? I don't know.
I mean, it is one of those things for me. I think I would have to see this in some readings.
Yeah.
And to see how it plays with others.
Mm-hmm.
Does it play well with others?
Yeah.
So removing the mask in the sun to become clear. It's a sunspot.
Exactly.
Hershey said, I think it's great because it's so different, but I see the youth in it. I see the vitality. And Kaz, you are absolutely right. Milk could get away with this. Milk could get away with this. If Milk were still doing drag, I don't think Milk is doing drag anymore. So, yeah, maybe reverse sun. I don't know. If you see it as a sign of success, then yes, I think this would be very fitting to success by understanding that the materialism came with dark and light accepting. I think it's one I just got to work with it.
Yeah.
Do you have another one?
I do. It's the Fool.
Okay.
I mean, I appreciate what's going on with the imagery. I like the alligator / crocodile, or I think it's maybe an alligator, but and the tail kind of holding that flower. I mean, I get it. It's just not. It doesn't click for me. I get it, and I think I know where the artwork was going, the imagery, and everything else. But it made that list because oftentimes the Fool feels like an opportunity to kind of wow us, and immediately give that sense of awe and new adventure and all that. And this, I don't quite feel it.
Maru said the most Tothy card.
Maybe that's why I don't.
Oh, there you go. The Thoth has
okay.
The Thoth has the Fool.
So there you go. There you go. That reveals my limited vision on Thoth, because I really don't. I'm not familiar. So that's a me problem.
Yeah. MLR said we all have blind spots. Yes, we do.
That's true.
Yes, we do. So
and maybe when seeing the sun card might be the time to acknowledge that.
Yes. That's true. That's very true. And Janet Lee G said, Gerald, the googly eyes behind you have a red eye from your shirt.
That's true.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, and Linda thought that this was a dragon and not an alligator. Yep.
Could be.
We all have to understand knowing there's a danger ahead of you and things that could trip you up and trick you, but it's part of your journey. So always be expecting the danger, even though it's not. So, yeah, studying the Thoth is something that is on my to-do list.
Yeah, I really need to do that myself.
Okay, this card took me a minute, and it's the Empress.
Yeah,
nice image, and I'm like, I had to look at it, and I'm like, okay, that is a fetus, not in the right position on the human, it's a little lower, and it's so artistically it's very pretty, and I like how she has the artist has manipulated these flowers to be able to make the dress. but it's just okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. It took me a minute. I don't hate it. I don't want to rip it out of my deck and throw the whole deck away or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
I like
yeah.
I like when artists too take the opportunity to use the background in the Empress card a little bit more. And
Yes.
I mean, this is getting nitpicky, but and I've certainly seen expressions of the Empress that are just the character and really take me away. But I think it is an opportunity to kind of be a little more expansive on that.
Yeah. A lot of fertility,
Definitely. Yeah.
the Venus association,
Mm.
Mother Nature, rebirthing spring makes a lot of sense. It screams fecundity and fertility, oneness with nature to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. If Kristen Louise is here, Kristen Louise, how do you feel about this Empress? You'd have to go back and find an interview that I did with Kristen Louise because she was a different name back then. So if she sees this, she's smiling. She's giggling. Either that or she's rolling her big googly eyes back and falling over. So, do you have any others?
One more. I have
Okay.
the Moon card.
Okay.
And I maybe it is just an aesthetic choice for me, but I understand the sort of the dress does form the path in a way, and the wall is divided by that, so there is some connection there. The creature being an octopus or something along those lines doesn't get to what I like about the lobsters or crayfish coming out of the water and being able to survive on land as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and this
The
loses a
Ursula
little bit
card.
of duality for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have a request about the Lovers card.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't understand the Lovers card. I don't hate it. I actually don't mind it aesthetically.
Yeah.
I just don't really get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and one, I think it depends upon, for me, the Lovers card, it is about partnership at a much deeper level, not necessarily just romantic.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about choice. I'm not necessarily seeing choice in here, but I am seeing the similarity that one has influenced the other, and because the appearance is similar. And yes, it is a bluebird. Would that have counted?
Depends on who's defining blue, Gerald.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And yeah, lovebirds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you've dated a birder. For me, it's like a mashup of lovebirds and the bluebird of happiness.
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Linda. So, we have a couple of minutes left. Does anybody want to see a particular card? We can try and find them. I still have all of my stuff out. Have you used this deck much?
Lately, not as much because I've been just kind of working through some other decks that have been added to the collection that I've been wanting to, but I have used it a decent amount in the past. Yeah.
I have a feeling Linda and I are going to be doing a show together. We're going to be doing readings on her channel on the 19th. I have a feeling I may be using this deck, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I love these deck casuals. So many insights from others. I know.
Yeah.
I totally want to do more of them. And I have some other ones that I'm planning, and I'm going to be courageous, and I'm going to invite the artists to join. So
that'd be great.
Okay, there was one other one that I sort of didn't mention, but I thought, where'd it go? Oh no, it's gone. Birds are wonderful, but can be difficult to clean up the mess.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
been down that road.
Yeah. And yes, Linda, I will use it. So, but I think it's an interesting thing because I squirreled. I did that, squirrel. I went to the artist website and I was like going, yeah, I saw that. Um, and I was like going, oh, wow, there's a lot of beautiful prints. And she's still very active. And it was US Games that approached her to create the deck. So I'm really grateful that they did.
Yeah.
So hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
So, and oh yeah, okay. So birds are wonderful, but can be difficult to clean up the mess. Also, they scream. Linda said.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Jonathan doesn't have the deck. Just getting up. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So if anybody else has cards they want to see, let us know. And Kathy says, I use it most days for a mystical moment to either look for or look back on, using the imagery to see synchronicities. I also use it to decipher dreams. Oh, that's a really nice way to say that. That's beautiful, Kathy.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is one of those things the artist, in reading how they go about and create, they're finding these pictures and these images that are all out of creative, they're out of, they're in the public domain. And it's just like any collage artist rips it up, puts it back together. And I did a lot of that. So, and Linda uses it a lot for channeling. So, and Jonathan wants to see the High Priestess and Justice. Okay. All right. So we have the High Priestess. Here's the High Priestess. I like this card. It's very pretty. I'm glad to see the color choices that the artist made. I love that red velvet with that blue and the boat in the moon. And then here is Justice. She likes the artist likes buildings. And I think buildings are a great background. So
I'm just amazed by her ability to capture the sheen on that fabric.
Yes.
As an artistic quality. That's just
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It looks like the Miranda painting by Waterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a request to see the 8 of Pentacles. And I will say, Hershey, here's the Hierophant. I like this Hierophant. Hershey has a thing about the Hierophant.
Yep.
So I like that Hierophant because the Hierophant is an owl in teaching. So, okay, 8 of Pentacles. Here we go. Yep. So, Joanne, there you go. And it's an interesting one because we have it's like she is painting on the wing of that butterfly.
Some manifestation going on there.
Yes.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and you're right. The Alice in Wonderland feel for the Hierophant. Yeah. So, all right.
We had a request for the 3 of Swords as well. If you want to bring that up again.
Yep. Hold on. It's in my...
While you're doing that too, go ahead and I'll
You're welcome, Joey. Here's the 3 of Swords. Yeah, and these are, these are arrows or they're quills, but they're definitely feathers. So
Also,
this was in my favorite. Yeah.
Yep. One thing I wanted to point out that I kind of forgot about is the color coding of the titles at the
Thank
bottom.
you.
If I can get it to behave. So all of the suits are color coded and the majors are gray.
Yeah. I appreciate when artists are able to do that, and it's subtle, so it's not going to draw us away. But it's subtle, and it can add to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Throw words straight to the heart in that 3 of Swords. Yes. Okay. So if anybody else has something they'd like to see, please let us know. Linda loves the idea of quills in that 3 of Swords. Bring the idea of words that wound. And I also think we have to be really, really careful that sometimes the words that wound are the words out of our own damn mouth.
You got that right.
Rewrite your story. That's really hard. Meeting Betsy Palmer, Hershey, the Shadow Reader, and I've talked about stuff like that. I mean, careful the words you use. Okay, so I have a question for you, Brian.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that you are going to create a deck. I mean, people are asking me about creating a deck too, and I'm like, there's so many good decks out there. If you were to create a deck, what card would you start with?
So I won't exactly say that I started with the Fool, but I may have started with the Fool, and I don't know that I don't know that I would do that in every case. I think in this case I that just fit, but that's an interesting question because I could see myself honing in on, like, I always look at the Hermit card, early on when I get a deck or before I buy one. But I kind of like the disciplined approach of maybe starting with the minors, because I feel like that might almost like kind of holding off on the juicy ones, and get started with something that to put a lot of that initial energy into something that I wouldn't want to lose track of later on and lose momentum. So I don't know. What about you?
I would actually start with the minors. And I might start with the court cards in the minors, because the court cards, for some reason, and this is in Tarot the Stashaway, one of the first things that I talked about were the court cards, because everyone feels court cards are really hard. They're only hard if you make them challenging. But each of them has a feel. So I would probably start with court cards of the minors.
Yeah.
Because those court cards do relate to the majors. And as you said, the ace through the 10, you can find all of that information in the majors. So I think having that background, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So Jonathan said, I like the idea of starting with the Empress as your deck is being birthed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have there been any decks that have the same looking character throughout, since the whole story is about the journey of the Fool?
I feel like that sounds so familiar as a concept. And I can't decide if it's just because it makes so much sense to do it that way, if that's why, or if I've actually heard of or seen a deck like that.
Well, isn't that the Unicorn's Journey from the Lisa Papez?
Oh, I bet you're right. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
That's just out, but I do MLR. That makes a lot of sense. Jane the Seeker said Under the Oak.
Okay.
But I agree with you. There is, it depends upon how you look at tarot.
Yeah, it's true.
And, when I first started to learn taking an in-person class, it was very much this is the fool's journey and this is what you have. James R. Eads. I could see that. Yeah, definitely they link together. Definitely. So, oh, here you go. Maru said, I read that the other cards are characters the fools meets on his journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kaz is mentioning there's a lot out there. Whether or not they actually they publicize them like that, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's a really great question, MLR.
There is I'm sure some of you have probably seen it. The Kippy's Quest on YouTube.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, oh my goodness, you need to check this out. It's a Kippy's Quest, KIPPIKWEST. And this person puts so much time and energy into creating really entertaining stories in generally 10 to 20-minute videos that cover all of the cards. I think he's currently in the Pentacles suit, but started like over a year ago. And there are these long, incredible, just very funny, very entertaining stories. And that's how they depict it. It's the fool journeying through the tarot, and it's fascinating. I think everybody should check it out. It's incredible.
That's great. MLR, you're getting lots of people. Hershey has put some stuff in. The Ravenous and the Dracone have the same character, and then Unicorn Journey, Heartwood Tarot, Witchling Academy Tarot. So, and Hershey, we are not grading on spelling at all, so it's okay.
That's right.
So, and Brian is he's overachieving and is looking for more of them. And thank you. So, I'm going to open that. I'm going to put that into the other chat as well. So there you go. It's in both of the streams.
So Gerald, would you have, if you do end up getting, and this is no pressure, purchase responsibly, know your limits, but if you end up getting the Oracle, I wonder if perhaps we should do one of these for the Oracle and maybe kind of incorporate some stuff. Just a thought, throwing it out there. No need.
I think we need to do that. Yes. I think we do. So Jeffrey has it. But again, Jeffrey and I don't necessarily share decks.
Yeah.
So he might let me use that. But so the last thing I have to ask you is because, Glimmer Globe 2024 is going on.
Yes.
Kaylee Fogo Pogo just posted her weekly update. Links are on my page and all that good stuff. I'm just curious, Brian, no pressure. Have you had any glimmers of late that you would like to share with people?
Have I indeed? I mean, I think we're always peppered with those, luckily. I'm very fortunate that way. But I guess, and full disclosure, I have not had time to engage with the Glimmer Globe.
Yeah, no worries.
So can you give me a brief, loose definition?
Absolutely. A glimmer is when things are lined up perfectly and you feel in alignment, your mind, body, and soul are good. Think of it as the opposite of a trigger. It's something, a trigger is that idea of it has a negative connotation. A glimmer has a positive connotation. Just that small thing that lights you up for no apparent reason or and it's so small. It's cool. So
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So oddly enough, it has to do with I think the most recent experience I had with that was we have a sick dog at home that
I'm sorry.
he's doing well right now, remarkably, and he's had sort of a puppy kind of resurgence. He went through a period of some days where he wouldn't eat, and we got very concerned, took him to the vet. It is not a good prognosis. However, we started I just started cooking chicken and rice and things for him at home, and pumpkin
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And he immediately started eating it and eating well and
Good.
acting just happy and healthy. And it was just this, like, it was an aha moment that was like, well, he's not eating this bagged food from the store and all that. We cook for ourselves all the time. I'm just going to do my thing and get in the kitchen because that's what I just cook, you
Yeah.
know. So I thought I'll do it for him, and it just, to see him back at that state and to have all those things align, it just
I
had
love
it.
that.
Yeah, it had that feeling. So thank you for asking.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. And Pamela Batchelor is here. And by the way, Pamela Batchelor is one who has inspired me to appreciate BTS. There is a playlist inspired from Pamela, so it's cool. So, and Kaylee is still here. Need to put on their bead today for the Glimmer Glum. So, everybody, thank you so much for being here. It is wonderful to share space with you again. Brian from Blushing Nerd Tarot and tarotforest.com. And Diana, oil painter, is here. And yeah, it is beautiful, isn't it, Hershey? So, so any last thoughts?
No, but thank you for setting this up and inviting me, and
Oh,
it's
you're
just
welcome.
always such a pleasure. So
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please check to make sure that you are subscribed. Do that. Go over and explore responsibly, tarotforest.com. Nice stuff there. Good stuff that you can't necessarily get here. We will say farewell, and everyone have a great rest of your day. Bye.
bye, everybody.